Shocking. 7 golf stars missed the 2026 FedExCup Playoffs. Sedgefield changed everything. What if I told you that just one Sunday afternoon at Sedgefield Country Club ended championship dreams, shattered record-breaking streaks, and left some of the biggest names in golf wondering where it all went wrong? Imagine spending months battling through pressure, injuries, expectations, and countless miles on the PGA Tour, only to discover that one missed putt, one poor drive, or one unlucky bounce was enough to end your entire season. That is exactly what happened at the Wyndham Championship, where the final chapter of the PGA Tour regular season delivered one of the most dramatic finishes in recent memory. Fans expected celebrations, miracle comebacks, and unforgettable moments. But no one expected 7 of golf's most recognizable stars to be watching the FedExCup Playoffs from home. How could former champions, Ryder Cup heroes, and major winners fail to survive the cut? Was it bad luck, declining form, injuries, or simply the brutal reality of modern professional golf? Stay with us, because by the end of this story you'll understand why Sedgefield became the scene of one of the most heartbreaking Sundays the PGA Tour has seen in years. And before we continue, let us know in the comments, which elimination shocked you the most? If you love dramatic golf stories and inside analysis, make sure you subscribe because this season has been filled with unbelievable twists, and they're only getting bigger. As the final round began, the atmosphere at Sedgefield felt completely different from an ordinary tournament. It wasn't just about winning a trophy anymore. Every scoreboard represented hope or heartbreak. Every birdie meant survival. Every bogey could erase an entire year's work. Players weren't simply competing against the golf course, they were racing the FedExCup standings, watching every leaderboard update, calculating every possible scenario, and trying to stay inside the all-important top 70. Unlike previous years, there was no room for comfort. The margin between advancing and elimination was incredibly small, making every shot feel like it carried the weight of an entire career. Around the course, caddies refreshed live rankings after nearly every hole. Families followed scoring apps with nervous anticipation. Television cameras constantly shifted between contenders, capturing expressions that told stories words never could. Some players smiled after sinking birdie putts, believing they had done enough. Others stared silently into the distance, already realizing their playoff hopes were slipping away. Then came one of the biggest surprises of the week. Brennan produced the performance of his life, storming to victory and making an enormous leap in the FedExCup standings. Entering the week outside the playoff positions, he transformed his entire season with one unforgettable performance, jumping into the postseason and earning a place among golf's elite. His remarkable win also secured an invitation to the 2027 Masters, turning what had been an uncertain season into a career-changing breakthrough. But every incredible success story creates painful consequences for someone else. Brennan's rise meant another player had to fall, and that domino effect rippled throughout the standings. As positions shifted minute by minute, veterans who once looked safe suddenly found themselves on the outside looking in. The final leaderboard became a battlefield where dreams changed with every update. One golfer climbed, another dropped, then another. The tension became almost unbearable. Have you ever wondered how cruel professional sports can be? Imagine dedicating your entire life to reaching the highest level, only to miss your goal by a handful of points after months of competition. That's the reality these players faced. There were no second chances, no extra tournaments, and no opportunity to replay a single mistake. When the final putt dropped, the regular season was officially over, and reality hit like a thunderbolt. Historic playoff streaks had ended. Careers faced difficult questions. Confidence disappeared in an instant. For some players, this wasn't just another disappointing week. It was a turning point that could define the next stage of their careers. Among the biggest stories was the end of Keegan Bradley's incredible run. For 15 consecutive years, he had qualified for the FedExCup Playoffs, establishing one of the PGA Tour's most remarkable records for consistency. But every streak eventually comes to an end, and Sedgefield became the place where that remarkable achievement finally stopped. Jason Day, another former world-class star, also saw his extraordinary playoff appearance streak come to an end after battling injuries throughout the season. Tony Finau, once considered one of the tour's most reliable contenders, also failed to advance, highlighting just how unforgiving this year's competition had become. Yet these were only the beginning. The biggest shock of all involved a player whose name has defined championship golf for years. His absence from the playoffs stunned fans across the world and sparked difficult conversations about what comes next. Could one disappointing season really change the future of one of golf's biggest stars? Or is this only the beginning of an even greater comeback? We'll reveal exactly why Brooks Koepka's season unraveled, what happened to the other eliminated stars, and why many experts believe the 2026 FedExCup Playoffs could mark the beginning of a new era in professional golf. Then came the moment that nobody inside Sedgefield wanted to see. As the final FedEx Cup standings became official, the reality was impossible to ignore. Brooks Koepka, one of the most feared major champions of his generation, was out. Jason Day's remarkable playoff streak had finally come to an end. Keegan Bradley's incredible run of 15 consecutive playoff appearances was over. Tony Finau, a player once considered one of the tour's most consistent performers, was also left on the outside. Denny McCarthy, Matt Wallace, and Steven Fisk completed the heartbreaking list of players whose seasons ended right there on Sunday evening. For fans, it was shocking. For the players, it was devastating. The top 70 advanced to Memphis, but these 7 stars were forced to watch from home after the Wyndham Championship finalized the playoff field. Perhaps the biggest surprise was Brooks Koepka. Just months ago, expectations were sky high after his return to the PGA Tour. Many believed the 5-time major champion would quickly remind everyone why he had once dominated the biggest stages in golf. Instead, the season never truly came together. Missed cuts piled up. Opportunities slipped away. Even Koepka admitted his performance simply wasn't good enough, describing his season in brutally honest terms. For a competitor known for thriving under pressure, missing the FedEx Cup playoffs wasn't just another disappointing result. It became one of the lowest moments of his professional career. Jason Day's story was different, and perhaps even more emotional. The former world number 1 has battled injuries throughout his career while constantly fighting to rediscover the form that once made him one of golf's biggest stars. Year after year, he kept finding ways to qualify for the postseason. But every streak eventually reaches its end, and this season proved just how unforgiving professional golf can be. One difficult stretch of tournaments was enough to erase months of hard work. Keegan Bradley experienced similar heartbreak. For 15 straight years, his name had appeared in the FedEx Cup Playoffs. That level of consistency is incredibly rare on the PGA Tour. Yet golf has no sympathy for past achievements. Bradley entered the Wyndham Championship knowing exactly what he needed to do, but the numbers simply didn't fall his way. When the final calculations were complete, one of the tour's most impressive streaks had quietly ended. Then there was Tony Finau. Not long ago, Finau was a regular contender in the biggest tournaments, earning victories and climbing inside the world's elite. His powerful game and calm personality made him one of the tour's fan favorites. But golf changes quickly. Small mistakes become costly. Confidence disappears. Suddenly, a player who once looked untouchable is fighting just to survive another week. That's exactly what happened this season, proving once again that reputation alone earns nothing in today's PGA Tour. And while those stars suffered disappointment, someone else's dream was coming true. Michael Brennan arrived at Sedgefield ranked well outside the playoff picture. Few expected him to leave as the Wyndham champion. Yet 4 brilliant rounds completely transformed his season. He surged from outside the top 100 all the way into the playoff field, earning not only a place in Memphis, but also an invitation to the 2027 Masters. One player's miracle became another player's nightmare. That is the brutal beauty of professional golf. If there was one lesson from Sedgefield, it was this. No career is guaranteed, no streak lasts forever, and no superstar is immune from pressure. Every season begins with hope, but only a select few survive until the playoffs. That's what makes the FedEx Cup one of the toughest tests in sports. It's not enough to play well once or twice. Players must perform for months, week after week, under relentless pressure, knowing that every birdie and every bogey could decide their future. So here's the question for you. Which elimination shocked you the most? Was it Brooks Koepka's disappointing return, Jason Day's emotional exit, Keegan Bradley's historic streak ending, or Tony Finau's unexpected collapse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments because this debate is only beginning. And remember, while 7 familiar names saw their seasons come to a painful end, the FedExCup playoffs are just getting started. New stars are emerging, veterans are chasing redemption, and the race for one of golf's biggest prizes has officially begun. If this dramatic story surprised you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because the biggest twists of the 2026 golf season may still be ahead.